Good on ya. Well, in that case, I'm actually going to be working on Tornado. So, are people on this, by the way? People are loaded up for it. Where are my trains? There's the red one. And the blue one's at the station already. Well, so the red one got held up, it looks like. That's fine. Are you patrolling this area? You are. Okay, good. Well, you get that little area now to work on, too. We need that area. No. You get your butt over here. What? Oh, there he goes. I was about to say, what the hell? So the red train should be leaving here in a second. Where's my blue train at? The blue train's coming. Red train is going to be leaving right now, I think. Yeah, the red train's moving, and here comes the blue train. By the time the blue train docks, the red train should be almost at the other station. That is exactly what it is. Okay, cool. So they're kind of synced. They're not the best synced, but they're okay, I guess. The banking bit was just because, it's just like adding a little bit of extra spice or sugar or whatever. Alright, so I'm going to be working on Tornado and then probably Priff Prof. We need some more excitement here in this section. Roller coaster, is that our last one? No, it's not. Wow, what the hell else could we get? Tornado. There you are. I found you. So I'm going to have it be right here. And I wanted to move this up, but I think I'm going to keep it right here just so that I can have more of a queue line for it. It's not going to be popular, but it'll work out. That freaking handyman, I swear to God. Get your ass out of here. Why is it always like when I want to freaking build a ride, I'm waiting on the money, and I'm like, okay, I should have it soon, and then it's just like, nah, Chief, it's gonna rain. You're gonna get slow. Thanks, game. You're great, wonderful, just wonderful. I'm gonna be right back. This time I will be back quicker, you know. Tornado, tornado, tornado. Tornado. Oh yeah, brother. Get that out of here. So now we're gonna. What was it? It was Cricket Path, right? So was this one. You know, I didn't really think about it at first, but yeah, the pathing, even though if the rails are the same, it does help. So we're gonna do that. It's not gonna be that popular, but you know, it's cool. It's whatever. It is a Six Flags ride, so I mean, I should probably make it $4. tornado. I've done this coaster in the past on different parks. It just seems to never really be all that popular, and I've never really known why. Because it's a nice coaster. Like, it is a nice looking coaster. It's, you know, he drops, you know, goes down here, you got the corkscrews, goes back up, comes back around, you got a big old helix looking thing right here, and then it just doesn't like work out. Why is this not getting any traffic? Because there's hardly anybody going up and down the middle aisle, I think. I need more traction in the middle aisle. Now, the next coaster I will be looking for is Prifcroft. And I don't know how I want to do her. Didn't I want to do something like this with her? I wanted to... it was something to do with where if I was going to do it, I would have had to have moved to the bathroom. And yes, so I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Just going to put you on the other side. There we go. Proffy. You guys remember the show Puka back on Disney? Like around JetX or something like that back in the day? That was a good show. It was a funny show. It was like this. It was like a cute, like Japanese anime. Like, okay, so like if you've ever like, I know for me, because I'm here in Los Angeles, we have a lot of diverse people, right? So when I went to a private school for elementary for like kindergarten through or first grade rather through 8th grade. So it was a Christian school, it was a private school. And there were some Asians that went to the school because it was kind of in an Asian kind of dominated area. Because we have different sections of those here in LA and in the suburbs. And Puka was the type of brand or the type of character you would see on the Japanese pencils and stuff. It was not as popular as Hello Kitty, but it was one of those types of deals. And then they made it into a show in the mid 2000s, and I think it lasted 2 or 3 years. But I remember watching that show, and I thought it was funny. Puka is this it's this little Chinese girl with the red shirt, and she makes really good noodles, right? She makes really good food and noodles and all that stuff. And basically, can I back this up? I cannot back that up. Well, that's a shame. So basically, what ends up happening is she falls in love with this ninja named Garu, and Garu is somebody that doesn't speak. He has no talking at all in the show. The only time he talks is in one of the last seasons or one of the last episodes, and that's because one of the evil villains in the show casted this disruptor of personalities or whatever, and it made him have the opposite personality of what he had. So instead of being quiet and humble, it turned him into not an uptight, but kind of a conky, really talkative, hitting on girls person. And which was funny because Puka kind of liked it because she thought she was getting hit on by him. But then he started hitting on the other character's girlfriend, which I forget their names, but Puka's best friend girl is she's kind of dating this other guy in the show that, he acts all tough. He's all brawn. And whenever he leaps into action, he rips off his shirt. His dad works for the police department. He's every time he finishes a sentence, he says over. He was my favorite character. I liked him. He made me laugh. But yeah, so that's pretty much what Puka was about. Puka came on at around the same time. Let's see, there was a lot of good shows in the mid 2000s on Disney and that kind of area. We had you had Puka, you had Yin Yang Yo. I liked Yin Yang Yo. That show was so funny, I thought. It's gonna be a while before I get this up. What the hell am I even doing? I liked that show a lot. It was I forgot the name of it. There was another one too. American Dragon Jake Long. That was funny. Jackie. Those are good. Those are the simpler days. What was another show? One of my other personal favorites. It was Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go, and it was a cool show. But I think it got canceled, which sucked because they were on the final season of it anyway. And the end of one season was going to become like the first episode of the finale season, and it got canceled. I don't know if it aired anymore in Japan, because Japan's normally like, okay, we're going to cut off the show in other countries because it's not doing that well, but because our viewers like it, we're going to like make sure it gets its proper finish here. And I don't know if it ever got its rightful like ending or not. What else? What other good show? Oh, Code Lyoko. That was a good show. It was an old show back on like the Toonami days of Cartoon Network. It was an interesting show. So it basically grasped two animation concepts. It had CGI, or not CGI, but what was it? It wasn't CGI, or it could have been, I guess. But it was like it had like Pixar or Illumination animation, but it was also like anime at the same time. It was pretty much like two different types of animating going on. So in the real world, it was like Japanese animated, but in like this alternate universe where like they saved this spirit girl from like monsters and evil things, it was like 3D, and it was a really unique looking show. And it, you know, I had a blast with it. It wasn't so much like funny, but it was like actiony, and like it was just really nice. Like the concept and the idea of the show and what it was about was really good. I liked it a lot. I'm trying to think of other shows that were on back then that I really liked. Justice League. Justice League was pretty good. Teen Titans back then was really good. Teen Titans was it was good, but there were, I feel like when the show ended or it stopped, there were a lot of unanswered things. And the show kind of basically left off on like a viewer standpoint of what do you think happened, because like the whole thing with Slade and like the whole thing with Raven's dad, like that never really fully got answered. The whole Slade thing never really got answered. And the whole thing with Tara, and like she like sacrificed herself, but at the same time she like came back, but she doesn't remember, and it's just like, well, who brought her back? Was it herself who brought her back? Like did she encase herself in stone with the fight with Slade? Like there was just a lot of questions in regards to that show, and like what was happening like towards the end of it. But I enjoyed that show. Justice League, going back to it, I really liked. I think my favorite character was Green Lantern, because he was kind of smart. Flash made me laugh. I liked Flash in Justice League. He was funny. Batman was cool, but I liked Green Lantern a lot. He was like this big buff black dude. And he was really smart. He took great pride in his like job ability and everything. And he was just a really neat like character in the show overall. So I thought that was kind of nice. What other shows were on like back then? Oh, we missed it by $16. Wow, we missed it by $16. That's crazy. What's our next attraction? Oh my gosh, we still have more roller coasters? Like, what? That's crazy. That's crazy. Missed about $16. I cannot believe this. Oh, you know what? You know what show I remember? Shaolin Showdown. You guys remember that show? Like, that was like right around the time of American Dragon Jake Long. And, Jackie Chan. You know, I think I called it American Dragon Jackie Chan, and I was totally wrong. That's Jackie Chan Adventures. So I apologize for that. But yeah, American Dragon Jake Long, which sadly I did not see a lot of growing up. It was like it always came on at 8 or 8:30, and that was like my curfew back then. So I didn't really get to experience that show that much. Another show I didn't really experience was El Tigre. I didn't experience that show a lot. But going back to Shaolin Showdown, that show was like the Cartoon Network's version of Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I believe that aired in 2004. And Shaolin Showdown, which was like this cartoon, like sillier, more tame version, came out like I think in 2006. And it lasted, I think, till 2010, whereas Avatar: The Last Airbender, I think, lasted up until 2011. And yeah, Shaolin Showdown was a lot of fun. I'm trying to think. I know Mulan had its own show for a little while. I think we need more people in the park, but that's just me. So, yeah, it was just, you know, like, things like that, shows from back then. I just, you know, like, totally reminiscing in right now. No. Oh, I didn't mirror it. Whoopsie. So we're going to have this be right here. I should put a Dodgers down here. Another one wouldn't be a bad idea. But yeah, just those shows. I'm trying to think of other ones too. I mean, you know, you had your Power Rangers. You had oh, you know what? Digimon Battle Frontier, which I think was the 3rd or 4th version. I think was my favorite. That was the Digimon where you the characters become the Digimon themselves. Like they slap, like they have this like dial thing, like Ben 10 does with the watch, and basically like they smack their wrist and then they become the Digimon itself. And like I remember all the characters' names, like it was Zoe and like JP and Tommy. And I actually don't remember the main guy's name though. That's the thing. There was 2 other characters. There's one dude with the black hair, and then one dude with like the main guy, but I don't remember their names. I remember the big boy, that was that was JP, and then the girl's name was Zoe, and then the little kid's name was Tommy. And Tommy was my favorite because his first evolution of the Digimon would be like this little white polar bear, but it'd be like a polar bear made for World War III or something like that. Like it had rockets. And it had like machine gun, like he could bounce around, he had explosives. It was like this Armageddon little white teddy bear character, and it was like the cutest thing. I wanted one like as a plush when I was little. I just thought it was so dang cute. I'm trying to remember JP's was like a cannon guy, I want to think. He was like harnessed energy, I think. I could be totally wrong. Zoe, I can't remember. Zoe was a fairy, I think. Right? She was some kind of fairy, like, scepter-wielding girl, I think. Gosh, I can't remember now. But I just remember Tommy, just because he was the best. I thought he was so dang cute. Like, I was just like, oh my god, like, ow. What the heck? Oh my god, how are you so precious? You know, that show had an interesting take on it, too. That one had, like, towards the middle of the show, they were like trying to go back in time to like when they got on the train to go into the Digimon world where they all met for the first time, and there was like different experiences. I think they did an episode on everyone's like POV of how they got to the station or what they were doing there anyway. And like JP was there. JP had gotten there first, I think, and he was sitting in the train, and the main guy, I think, got there second or third, and when he was asking what was going on, I think JP gave a sarcastic response because he was annoyed, because I think he was actually doing an errand and he was going to run late or whatever. And Tommy, I think Zoe showed up last, because I remember Zoe popped into the train and JP like got all huffy and like just trying to like make himself look good in front of her. Like JP had a strong thing for Zoe. And then flying roller coaster. What? I'm trying to think of like, you know, one of the other Digimons was interesting too because they had like little sidekick animals. You had the little like yellow dinosaur, and you had Renamon, which I don't know why I remember that name, but I think it was the wolf, the yellow wolf one for the girl in that one. But that one was interesting towards the end of that show because like, I don't know, like this little girl is like taken over by some kind of dark magic or dark matter in the city. Gosh, this is all like vague information I'm giving you guys. I'm sorry. This is just, I'm going based off what I've seen and what I remember like 10 years ago. It's what, 2020? Yeah, I think I watched these shows like 10 or 15 years ago. And, like, I don't know, like, I actually don't even remember if that show actually had a proper ending or not. Like, it was weird because the main guy was trying to, like, take care of this little girl, and she had been partially consumed by the dark magic, which would eventually take over the city of where I think they all lived. And, I don't know, I just remember they spent, like, 2 episodes on this train reminiscing in, like, older times, and it was kind of somber and sad. Like, you got to see all the happy memories, and then, like, maybe how the little girl got tangled up in that mess anyway. So, yeah, it was just really interesting. But Battle Frontier for Digimon was probably my favorite one of those. My sister was the Pokemon girl. I didn't watch a lot of the Pokemon show much after Johto. In fact, I didn't watch a lot of Hoenn, but I did watch a lot of Sinnoh. And Dawn is best Pokemon girl. Like, anybody who says otherwise, I will smack them in the face. A lot of people, quite a few people don't like Dawn, and I don't know why. I thought, okay, Misty, some people like Misty, but I thought Misty was an asshole. Like, I just thought she had 2 moons. She had 2 moods. Misty had 2 faces in the entire first and second season. She was either sarcastic or she was just plain out and bitch. Like, she only had 2 moods. And it pissed me off because it just seemed like whenever she was happy or whenever she was cheery, it was short-lived. And then in Gen 3 for Hoenn, you had May. And I liked May, but she's a couple flapjacks shy of a short stack. And I didn't really like her that much. I could see why they had her little brother Max come along. Because he would have to clarify, or he would have to, like, decode what he'd have to, like, decipher to the group, like for Brock and Ash, what May was trying to say or what she meant. I don't know. Of the few episodes I watched of Hoenn, May just not the brightest bulb in the chandelier. But then came Dawn and Sinnoh, and Dawn was amazing. Like she was smart. She was like kind of motherly. Like her mother in the Sinnoh show was insanely. She was like this legend in Pokemon, like coordinating and contests and all that kind of stuff. And, like, she was, like, really wise. She had a Glammeow, I think, at one point in the show or whatever. And it was really nice to see. And, like, whenever she, like, made her presence known in the show, like, everybody listened. Especially, like, when her mom came along. And then, like, Dawn got some of that kind of rubbed off on her. Because, like, as the show progressed in Hoenn, you got to see that more and more out of her as well. Oops. So I thought that was like one of the cooler things. And then she was also really smart. She knew what to do. She like knew her stuff. She wasn't trying to like. She wasn't like trying to be all cocky. She wasn't a dick, that's for sure. Like how Misty was. And then after Sinnoh, I believe. Oh, what was the cutest damn thing? It was the whole thing between Baneri and Pikachu. I thought that was like the cutest, most adorable like little thing. One of Dawn's Pokemon had an absolute crush on Pikachu, and I thought it was really adorable at the time. And I just, I never did really see the more or less ending, or not really ending, but I didn't really get to see like the real like end to that, because I believe after Sinnoh it went into something else, and I never really did get to see what it was, and it sucked because it was like, because I know in Hoenn they went from like regular to they went from like regular like third season to like not Battle Frontier, but like Battle Arena or something like that. I don't know. A little bit more. And then in Sinnoh, I think they did the same thing, but they didn't last like all that long. So that kind of sucked. But at the same time, it was just like, nah, you know, it's whatever. I didn't get to see it. Oh, that's not what I wanted. And then, let's see, after Sinnoh, they went into Unova. And I did watch a little bit of Unova. And I didn't like Iris. I didn't like Iris all that much. But she kind of grew on me. I felt like she matured over time. And I was like, really all you could ask of her? So, I mean, it wasn't her fault. She came from, like, this kind of... She was a dragon tamer, essentially, right? So, she, like, came from this land or, like, this valley of, like, people with dragons. And, you know, if you raise dragons in the world of Pokemon, you kind of tend to be, like, pretty... Not uptight, but I guess pompous. You kind of think you're the shit. And that's how I felt like she was. Like, every time Ash would joke around, she'd be like, oh, Ash, stop being such a child. And I just wanted to be like, bitch, aren't you younger than him? Shut your face. And, it, you know, it was one of those deals. You know, it was just one of those things where it was just like, I had to watch Unova a little bit more to finally, like, tolerate her and then accept her. And then that's pretty much all I remember. I don't really remember anything after Unova in the world of Pokemon. Especially in the gaming. I actually do not have black or white. My sister keeps up with all that stuff more than I do, so... My sister loves Pokemon. She loves, like, Warrior Cats and all that. So, you know, it's not like, you know, I'm not saying it's like, I'm not saying like, you know, oh, you know, she's staying attached for too long or something like that. No, she's just really into it, like, and that's something, you know, she can't help over time. And, you know, it keeps her happy, it keeps her content. Yeah, but I definitely have retired from Pokemon. I actually also retired from the game of Pokemon as well. Because I wasn't keeping up with the games, I wasn't keeping up with the knowledge. I sure as him am not as good as I used to be. That's for sure. I feel like at one time, I probably was really, really good at Pokemon, especially in the world of the gaming aspect, but, I mean, I still dabble here and there, but I'm not, like, anything insane. Speaking of insane, I totally went over the mark, by the way. That's you know what, that's my bad. I have been rambling for a half an hour. I'm gonna get something to drink, because my voice is starting to go out. So I will be right back.